Hi there, welcome to Luxe Minds. My name is Irini, and today we're going to be talking about how to thrift like a pro, part 2. If you haven't checked out my part 1 to this video, I'm going to link it here and in the description below, so feel free to check that out. You don't have to check it out before, you can check it out after. Either way works, but it's just a video about some of my favorite thrift finds at a thrift store or a consignment store and how I've styled them. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly what tips and tricks I use to make sure that I have a successful trip at the consignment store, and share with you guys some of the reasons why I choose to shop this way instead of fast fashion or just normal industry brands. You may not believe me when I say this, but let's say we're in a pair of jeans right now, or I'm pretty sure we all own a pair of jeans. One pair of jeans takes 1,800 gallons of water to produce. The production process of making one pair of jeans also generated greenhouse gases equivalent to driving over 80 miles. Guys, that's like driving from New York to Philly. All that gas used to just produce one pair of jeans. And this is the same process for shirts, tank tops, skirts, any other piece of clothing of item. Now, simply thrifting isn't going to solve the overall climate crisis that we're currently in or change the impact that the fashion industry has on this overall situation. But if you're privileged enough to have the ability to choose between Urban Outfitters or Goodwill, my guess here is that if you're watching this video, you're probably picking Goodwill. So congratulations, I'm happy that you're here, and I can't wait to share with you guys my tips and tricks to thrifting. Okay, so in the beginning of the video, you probably heard me mention consignment versus thrifting. So the first step is to understand the difference between these two. Thrifting is your typical Salvation Army and Goodwill, nonprofits that are getting donations of clothing and then selling them for a charitable cause. Consignment is if I'm someone who wants to get rid of some clothing and I take it and I go to a consignment store, they'll sell the clothing for me. I'll get 40 to 60% of that price, and then they'll keep the rest. Now, this is a great alternative because they're very picky in the clothing that they do select to put into their stores. So this helps filter some of the hard work and has a nice tailored, like boutique kind of style store for you to go through. Step number 1, and I hear this all the time, like, Irini, where do you thrift? Like, how do I find the perfect location? I don't know where to even get started. Now, location will depend on what kind of clothing you're looking for. Are you looking for that vintage thrifted vibe, or are you looking for contemporary? Now, the way that I like to do this is depending on the category. So if I'm looking for vintage vibes, then I'm probably going to want to look at an area with a older demographic. So these people will have those vintage items so that when they donate them, you're going to get the best kind of goods. If you want contemporary, then you're going to look for that younger population and demographic. So where are all the young, trendy professionals living that are then going to donate their clothes or consign them away, and then you can get a great deal on them. Income status. So you definitely want to look in the richer communities because they tend to be giving away clothes a lot more frequently. Set up your settings and go ahead and figure out where the nearest Goodwill is or some consignment stores in that area. Now, if you've seen my previous video, you know that a lot of the items that I showed you guys were designer and high-end luxury items. And now when you're thrifting, these are amazing finds to come across. But it can be tricky. If you're going to a thrift store like Goodwill, they don't actually authenticate if that item is actually a designer item. They'll put it into a shiny box and, it gives off this perception that it could be authentic and a real designer item, but there's no actual evidence of that. First tip of advice for you guys is that if you're not a Gucci expert or a Louis expert, and I'm not, so I definitely needed help. So what I did is I joined a bunch of Facebook groups. So each of the designers have like these massive online Facebook groups where people like sell items or talk about items. And these people are like obsessed with these designers, so they can tell a real and a fake in their sleep. So I join these groups, and if I'm thrifting and I come across something that for me looks like, hey, this can probably be real and I might get a great deal on this, what I do is I take detailed photos while I'm still at the store, and then I post it on this group. Don't worry, it's private, so your 1,000 random friends aren't going to get notified that you're thrifting. But I post it in this group, and I ask people like, hey guys, like, any red flags? Is this real or fake? And there's signs, and these people are like so speedy, but they'll come back at you right away and say, huge fake, don't buy it, or like looks authentic, yes, or like send more photos. And I don't know why I'm still doing this, but it honestly has been a lifesaver for me. Now there's actual sites online that you can go to and you pay like $10 or $20, and then they'll provide you with an authentication certificate if it is in fact a real designer item. So then you can rest assured that what you spent your money on is a real whatever, a real Gucci belt, I don't know. But it is super helpful. I'm going to go ahead and link a few of these Facebook groups below, but it's super simple. Just like write in the designer's name and like the groups will come up. Now this has been mainly for thrifting. A consignment store will be a little bit easier of an experience because everything is out and displayed really nicely. It's easier to find designer labels and they're all going to be authenticated because they won't take in anything without authentication. And you know, some big consignment stores that come to mind is the Real, and then you have like Crossroads and Buffalo Exchange, some popular chain stores. These again are a great place to get started if you're not ready to go on the deep end of like thrifting and trying to figure it out yourself. Consigning is a great place to start. You'll be able to find really nice things in great condition. When I went to my last trip to get some footage for you guys, there's like Chanel shoes. It has it all, like Fendi, and then you can get some really nice handbags for a great price. They had Tory Burch, Michael Kors, such a wide variety. Again, it really depends on the location, so you got to keep trying different ones until you find a really great place. There are also a lot of great options for men at the consignment store or the thrift store. They'll have sections where they'll have brand new suits from different styles and sizes to pick from. They'll have brand new work shoes along with button downs and vests. So I definitely recommend for the men to go out there and check out what's available. The first thing you want to do when you walk into a consignment or thrift store is ask them how their system of sales works. So they'll have like different colors or like labels that mark which ones are on sale, which ones are like a certain percentage, like 20, 40, 30% off. They'll have different markings. Now, if you're going to a consignment store, another question you want to ask them is if they have fakes in the store. One of the consignment stores that I go to have this whole inventory of fakes. Like it looks like a New York street corner, but they told me that they have a really high population of wealthy people in that area that I go to that come in and purchase the fakes. And they like to do this because they like to mix it in with their real items, but they don't have to worry about getting it damaged or broken because they didn't pay anything for it compared to the real ones that they own. And then if you saw Graham Stephan's last episode a few weeks ago, he had Christine Quinn on from Selling Sunset, and she even talks about how she would have like fake Louis boots or just like fake jewelry mixed in with her real jewelry. So it's like totally a thing. I don't support this. I don't buy fake things. I think it hurts the actual company and the artistry and everything that went into that bag. I think when you thrift it, it's different because it was already paid full price for, and now it's getting a whole nother life cycle out of it. But I just found it really interesting. So definitely ask and make sure that you're not buying something that's fake by accident. Next, we have online thrifting. So there's a lot of online thrift options. I'm going to link some down below. I'm not going to get into them. I personally don't do online thrifting, but one thing that I do want to mention is online Goodwill auction site. So I know I just talked about how Goodwill doesn't authenticate in stores, but they have an online auction site where they do authenticate and they have a lot of items in there. It's very vintagey. So if you're looking for contemporary, I would say like once in a while, if you're lucky, you'll find something, but there's a lot of vintage items there. So check it out. It's an auction base. So people just bid on items. I know someone who has a handbag store that uses this to get really great deals on like Louis and Chanel's and Prada's, and then resells them on their storefront for like way more. #capitalism. Check it out. I'm going to link that down below as well. Okay, so now you figured out where you're going to go shopping. The next step is to figure out when to go. It really will depend on that store, and I really suggest asking the salespeople that work there, like, hey, when is the biggest restock that you guys have? They give you a vague answer. Just ask a few more people. It really depends on who actually has the biggest intel while you're there. So for me, I know my local Goodwill gets restocked their biggest inventory on Sundays. And that's also the day that they have 2 sales going on for their color codes. I know I'm like a Goodwill expert. Now, the sections in the store that I frequent like right away when I get in is I always head towards those locked boxes first because it's, you know, not always going to be authentic, but it's a great place to start and kind of cuts the work in half. From there, I go straight to the shoe section. So my local store that I go to gets like the most amazing shoes. Then I'll go to the dress section because they'll have like amazing dresses in there for, especially for work. From there, I'll go to the jacket section, and then from the jacket section, I'll kind of just wander around and just skim to see if there's any hidden gems. Definitely always check the mirror sections and near the fitting rooms where people will leave items that they've like really liked that maybe didn't fit right or they changed their mind, but easy hunting for you. Overall, just take your time and like really look through everything one by one. And I know that sounds so exhausting, and I swear to God, it's like an arm workout, but especially in the beginning, you really want to get acquainted with the flow of the clothing. Over time, you'll kind of realize, you know, what is it that you're looking for. Like when I walk in, it'll be organized by color. Most of them are. I go straight for like the neutrals or the black and whites, or like I know red looks good on me. If you know your style, you know your vision, and you know what you came to look for, it'll really help you utilize your time better in the store. It's also important that you really look at the item before you purchase it, because there might be hidden damage. Make sure that this is in really good condition, or a condition that you can upcycle or like fix in order to make it look new again. I think that's really important. And then really know what materials you like on your body and make sure that you're buying the right ones. Like I like cashmere and cotton and things that will last me a really long time. I won't do like knitted sweaters because they get holes in them easily. Suede is expensive to like upkeep. So do some research on like materials. All right, my last piece of advice before I go into speed round. Don't buy something just because it's super affordable and kind of looks really cute and the quality's good. Thrifting isn't an excuse to then just like buy a bunch of stuff. I'm guilty of this. That's why I bring it up to you guys. When I first started thrifting, I went overboard. Like I probably have 20 sweaters at home that are all cashmere because I got them thrifted, but I only wear 5 of them, and now I'm probably gonna have to go back and donate them. But it's a whole cycle, and that's why now I've really limited myself. All right guys, and like that's it. Again, just make sure you have enough time, dress simply. You're gonna be trying things on and off. Remember to just have a lot of patience. Whether you buy something or you don't, the fact that you've set foot in a thrift store and that's what you're choosing to shop and that mindset that you're having is overall such a great thing, and you should be so proud of yourself for what you're doing. Just continue to stay positive, put some music on, and thrift away. I hope you found something useful in this video. If you did, make sure to hit a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos coming every Wednesday. I really want to know what you guys think about thrifting. If you have any advice for me, I'm always looking for new tips and tricks, so leave it down below. And I will see you next time, Luxe Minds. Bye!